Hey y'all, it's Elizabeth Weimiller, and I am coming at you with another Who's in the News. Gonna check out another chart. As always, if you haven't been to this channel before, I look at different celebrities, different people in the news, whether they have a time of birth or not. I am able to do it without the time of birth. So we take a look, we see what's going on in their life. If there's major events that, we can look at transits for, we'll look at transits. If not, we'll just look at their chart and see what it says about their life. So with that being said, today we are going to look at Elon Musk because I know we're all curious as to what's going on in his chart, because he is, well, he's constantly in the media, it seems like, and he has been for a few years. So today I'm going to take you into Elon Musk's chart. Let me go ahead and share what his chart looks like with you so that you can see it as well, because even if you're not an astrologer and even if you don't know what the chart's saying, I will point it out and I will walk you through it and it'll help it make sense to you. So with that being said, Elon Musk, we do not have a time of birth. He was born June 28th, 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa. Again, no time of birth. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the moon as his ascendant, which makes that his first house. His moon is in the sign of Leo down here. Ignore these house numbers. They are irrelevant. Because obviously we're working from the moon. So moon's going to be 1, Virgo, moon Leo going to be 1, Virgo 2, Libra 3, so on and so forth. So the 12th house will be Cancer. With that being said, if you don't know about Musk, I recommend you go look him up. He's fascinating. He's got a lot of businesses going. He's really motivated. He's an interesting character. He's unique. He's a little quirky. And he has a lot of people that love to hate him and love to love him. So first house, what we see working off of his moon is that, when we're using the moon as the first house, it can kind of give kind of that indication that his life can have many unpredictable events with constant change in his daily activities. It can indicate him as someone who's out of the ordinary and imaginative. He can be someone who seeks change. He looks for new experiences. He can be ambitious for recognition with a take charge attitude. He could be prone to fits of anger, which I think we may have seen from time to time. We've definitely seen that out of the ordinary and that imaginative. But the sun rules Leo, it rules his first house, and it goes to his 11th house. So the sun is up here in Gemini. What this says is that it can indicate him having an interest in humanitarian efforts. He can be at social events involving influential people and connections that are going to direct his life in a very beneficial way. It can indicate that he's going to have good cash flow in his life and that he'll do well in business. The one thing about Eastern astrology, which is what I do, is Eastern sidereal. So Vedic astrology, sidereal system of astrology. We have lunar mansions. And for those of you that don't know, the lunar mansions are kind of break the different signs into smaller portions, which give even more meaning. And when planets are in those, they can give more meaning to our life, more meaning to who we are. So really, one of the big distinguishers from Western astrology is the lunar mansions that are used in Eastern. With that being said, moon is in the lunar mansion of Porta Falguni. So this can indicate his ability to communicate with and the ability to influence others. He can be generous and an advocate. He can be prone to being reckless and too focused on getting what he wants, though, with this lunar mansion and his moon being there. So I think we've seen a little bit of those qualities. If we've been if you know who he is. If you haven't, congratulations, you might be one of the few people, and that says you don't watch a ton of media. So your life is in a different spot not watching media, which I cannot say is a bad thing. When we look at his next house, we're going to skip this. The ascendant, obviously, we're not using that because he doesn't have a time of birth. I do know some fellow astrologers have tried to rectify his chart, and some, I think, have gotten pretty close, but I don't remember those times. So again, we're going to use the moon. Going to ignore this, going to ignore Pluto and Uranus because they're big planets and they're more generational. So a lot of people are going to have that influence. The next house where he has stuff is his 4th house of Scorpio. He has Jupiter in the 4th house. It is there with Neptune. We're going to not work with Neptune right now, although they are pretty close. So that could make him also more imaginative. But in his 4th house of Scorpio with that Jupiter, it can indicate that he's active, he's articulate, and he can be very persuasive. He's someone that's always going to find opportunities for growth. He really has that ability to learn and stay on top of new information. He can have a very strong sense of self and of purpose. So he knows what he wants, he knows where he's going, and he knows really what he's looking to do. Interestingly enough, he can be prone to criticism and legal problems. So we have seen some issues, especially with this Twitter deal, where they decided to sue him once he tried to pull out, and then he ended up coming back. But he may come across as self-absorbed to others, so that is one thing that he needs to be aware of. Jupiter in the fourth house of the home can indicate him having a more spacious home. He may desire to have more space around him. For him, real estate can really be a good investment, and he may own valuable property. He could, though, in later life, be prone to heart problems or issues related to his chest area. This comes up from multiple different places, but this is the big one that I'm going to point out right here. So that'll be interesting to watch as he gets older, because he is 51 right now. Jupiter, when we look at rulerships, rules his fifth house. And I know the numbers are confusing. Actually, let me take those down for you. Should have done this sooner, so that you're not worried about it. So fifth house, Sagittarius, Jupiter rules his fifth house. With this, he really can indicate that, he's someone who's well educated. He can have a comfortable home. He could have some problems with children in terms of the relationship with them. I don't know if anybody knows this, but he does have, I think the last thing I saw was 10 children. He's got a set of twins, a set of triplets, I believe, and then a couple others thrown in there. So, Jupiter also rules his eighth house of Pisces. And in the fourth house, this can indicate him having kind of an interest in that esoteric or hidden knowledge. He can be someone who keeps his feelings to himself, so people may not know what he's truly feeling. He may have that desire to really live more in isolation with less people around him. So get the sense, he's in the news a lot. I get the sense from watching him, he may not be as comfortable in large crowds and may not enjoy that. He may not be that person that loves doing that. Jupiter is in the lunar mansion of Anurata, and this can indicate someone who's popular and attractive. He can benefit more living away from his place of birth, which he does because he no longer lives in South Africa. He lives in the United States. He may come up against pushback from those who are jealous of him and his success, but he's someone that's really focused on his goals. So when he gets a goal in his mind, he is going to just stay on it and focus on it and go for it. There is this side of him that he could have a more controlling, angry side. And there is a bit of indication that he could have a harder relationship with his mother, with Jupiter being in Anurata. Especially given that's the fourth house as well. But he's someone who's going to have many opportunities to travel. In his sixth house is Mars and the node of Moon Rahu. Mars is within 30 minutes of its exact degree of exaltation in Capricorn. So this is huge. This makes Mars a strong planet for him. And Mars in the sixth house can really indicate that he has an ambition and drive that's going to build a strong character as well as a body. Have we seen his body? Maybe, maybe not. But, he does have that strong character for sure. He can have trouble with Mars in the sixth. He can have trouble with coworkers and employees who may try to steal or cause issues and potentially legal problems. He does have that executive ability, that ability to really lead. He is someone who makes decisions quickly. He's someone who he may provoke arguments and could be reckless at times. So that is one of the things he may try to stir the pot up a little bit. He's high energy, he's hardworking. He may think it's okay to take things from others because he may not see it as like theirs or his, but he may just decide to take it. And he can be more arrogant in his approach. Now, Mars rules his fourth house that we were just talking about. And in the sixth house, this can indicate that his mother worked hard. He may himself be intuitive. He may get gut hits. He may pick up on stuff. He is motivated to build up good financial assets, so he wants that backing behind him. And the other thing with the ruler of the fourth and the sixth is he may have many residences throughout his life. And again, this position as well, it can indicate him being prone to heart and chest problems. So he needs to make sure to take care of his health in regard to those areas. Mars also rules his ninth house of Aries, and in the fourth house can indicate that his mother may be more spiritual. For Elon personally, it can indicate that his father may have been a role model for him. Elon can have good luck with cars, real estate, and really, things that come from beneath the earth. So I would say he probably has decent real estate at this point. Probably has decent cars. He also really good luck with cars. He is one of the founders of Tesla. So there you go on that. Rahu, the node of the moon Rahu, is in his 6th house as well, which can indicate he can think of creative solutions to problems. He is someone that's going to face opposition with courage and determination. He's really not going to see it as opposition. He's just going to be like, why are you pushing back against me? I'll push back against you. He has this ability to come out ahead in the end when he faces opposition. He may use unusual medical and healing approaches within his own life, and he can really have a strong immune system, but he does need to be cautious that he can be too quick to pick a fight and have that fiery temperament. So he needs to watch it. He needs to slow down. He needs to think through what he's going to say. Rahu in the 6th can also indicate that he has an ambition and drive to rise to the top of his chosen path, but he can have problems and conflicts with coworkers and employees along the way. So you've got 2 hits in the 6th house of coworkers and employees where he can have issues. 2 malefics there can cause problems with coworkers and what are considered open enemies. So people are trying to take you out. He may find success working with foreigners, and he is very goal-oriented and persistent, but he does need to be cautious as he can be too hard on others at times because he has really high standards. Saturn is the ruler of his 6th house, and it goes to his 10th house. And this can indicate he can gain success through hard work. He really has the ability to make money from his opponents and by going to court, interestingly enough. But on the flip side, opponents can hurt his career and status. Now, Mars and Rahu, they're pretty close in conjunction. They're about 6 degrees apart. Close, usually we say 3-degree orb. I'm going to say the 6-degree orb, you're still going to see a bit of that, real tight energy. Anytime a planet is conjunct, they are in the same sign, they are conjunct. So Mars Rahu conjunct can indicate that he has a lot of energy. He may take an unusual approach to getting things done. He can get angry easily. Mars is the planet of anger, and Rahu is very expansive. Rahu is in the lunar mansion of Shravana, indicating he's someone who's constantly learning and seeking knowledge and information. He can be very intellectual. He does have this capacity to truly listen. So even if he doesn't seem like he's listening, he is probably listening. Mars is in the lunar mansion of Dhanishta, indicating he can be someone who can earn a good living. He believes in charitable giving. He's highly motivated to accomplish things and develop his career. He's not someone who likes to be told what to do. So people that try to talk down to him or tell him what to do or tell him what he's doing wrong, it's not going to go over very well. The other side of this is he can select partners in terms of relationships who are often completely different in personality and outlook from him. So maybe completely the other side. But the one thing to focus on with this lunar mansion and Mars here is that he needs to be cautious not to become greedy or self-absorbed. In his 10th house, there's nothing in these next 3. In his 10th house of Taurus, he has Saturn and Venus. Venus is at home in Taurus. It's in its own sign. But Saturn and Venus being conjunct can indicate that he has business abilities, but that he can also be charming to suit his purpose. Saturn in his 10th house can indicate that he can be detached and reserved at times. He can have problems with relationships at times, but his career success is really going to come from hard work, discipline, and experience. So kind of that trial by error, see and learn. Saturn in his 10th house can also indicate his father may have been a self-made man who came from a life of struggles. Venus in his 10th house indicates that he's educated, he's drawn to a comfortable lifestyle. He's going to live around well-placed people and circumstances, which is going to help him. And then he could have a career using creativity that will bring him success. For him, money could come from a successful father, and he's someone Elon's someone that loves to work. Like, this is who he is. He could have trouble with females in his career or with his reputation. I do think there was a female at some point that came out and tried to claim sexual harassment. So that could be a bit of that problem. Saturn rules his 7th house and is in the 10th house, indicating that he could meet his partner through work, or they could work together potentially. But his partner is somebody that's also likely to be very ambitious and successful in their own right. Venus does rule both his 3rd house and his 10th house. So as I mentioned, it's in its own sign. But in the 10th house, this can indicate that he can gain success in his career. It's really a driving force for him in his life and will take up most of his time and thought. So he's really Even if he's not at the office, he's working, he's thinking work, he's sleeping work, he's basically dream, sleep, eating, all of it. He lives for his work. He can become, famous for his life's work. He really has this ability to handle large projects. He can have good finances and a strong career. Possible careers for him can involve sales, computers, communication, the internet, or writing. He is someone that can work well with his hands. So he may have enjoyed tinkering or playing with things or messing with computers and stuff early on. Saturn is in the lunar mansion of Critica, indicating that he can be very passionate and ambitious. He can be stubborn. There is potential for ups and downs throughout his life. He really likes to get to the bottom of things, and he's someone who's going to respond probably too strongly when challenged. He's not going to be open to advice. He may push back, but if you challenge him too hard, he's going to attempt to prove you wrong, and may actually prove you wrong in the process. He needs to be careful because he can set his goals and expectations too high. That doesn't mean he's not going to eventually achieve them with other things happening in his chart, but he can set them very high, which could eventually burn out his heart, his body, if he doesn't watch and take care of his health. Venus is in the lunar mansion of Mrigashira, indicating that he can be restless and may constantly be searching for something. He can be highly intelligent investigator and researcher who is mentally sharp. Moving on to his 11th house of Gemini, we have the Sun and Mercury. Sun in the 11th can indicate that he's going to be involved in groups or organizations that create change in the community or the world. It can indicate his father being successful, well-connected, and influential. Elon's friends can be powerful leaders who may mainly be male, and this gives him the capacity to fulfill his desires, with Sun being in his 11th house. It really gives him this ability to be a quick learner and learn new things quickly. He's someone who can be attracted to numbers and letters. It can indicate twins or having, two jobs, two romantic partners, two of anything. Gemini is the twins. That does play in. Mercury is in his 11th house as well, and Mercury is in its own sign of Gemini, which can indicate he has this ability to really capitalize on opportunities. He has an ability to cultivate contacts with influential and intellectual people. He's very smart at managing his cash flow, and he is someone that, he can be politically astute. He can have a sense of humor. He can have good speaking abilities. And he's someone who prefers mental pursuits more. So he really enjoys the intellectual side of things. He can be very resourceful, tactical, inventive, and a good debater, and he can have an interest in music, science, literature, and computers as well. As I mentioned, Mercury is in its own sign. It is very comfortable and strong. Mercury does rule his 2nd house, and being in the 11th house, this is a powerful placement for money. It is considered a good yoga. Money can come in large sums from settlements or bonuses or anything, but ruler of the 2nd house and the 11th house can bring money to people. I've seen it many times in charts. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities and good breaks throughout life with this placement, and he's always going to seem to have a chance to make money. Again, Mercury also rules his 11th house, and being in his 11th house does indicate that he can have influential friends who offer support, but it may be with ulterior motives or strings attached. His sun is in the lunar mansion of Ardra, indicating that he can have a good memory. He can come across as arrogant and maybe stubborn, but he does have this. Ardra's an interesting lunar mansion because he can have this potential of creating havoc where he goes and could even destroy himself. But out of this, he can be very good at creating things out of the destruction. So it's kind of like a phoenix coming out of its own ashes. Mercury is in the lunar mansion of Purnavastu, indicating that he's someone who lives in the moment and has the ability to really bounce back when he is down. There's really no boundaries to what Elon can accomplish with a planet in this lunar mansion, especially one that's in its own sign. In his 12th house, we have the other node of the moon, Ketu, and his 12th house is the sign of Cancer. He can benefit from living in a foreign country, working with foreigners. He may enjoy learning unconventional subjects. He may not enjoy domestic abilities, but he may enjoy spending time in seclusion. So that time to think, that time to tinker. The 12th house can be space, and he does have SpaceX. But he is someone that's going to travel. He may spend erratically. Now, he has so much money, it may be irrelevant, but he may have times where he's really, really cheap, and then other times where he's really, really frivolous. So to speak. He's someone whose mind may be more disconnected from this world, but he can have that interest in the unknown. So space is the unknown. I'm surprised he hasn't tried to go to the bottom of the ocean yet. That's an unknown. Um, there's still time. So there you go. But the moon rules his 12th house, and it's in the first house. So he may have an interest in meditation. He can enjoy working on activities that benefit the world as a whole. He does have potential for financial problems, fines, or punishments. So he should watch that. But he can be more private and secretive as an individual. Last but not least, K2 is in the lunar mansion of Ashleisha, indicating that he can be versatile and clever. He can accomplish things when motivated and really gain good wealth. He's going to put his energy into the things that interest him. So wherever his focus is and whatever interests him at this time, that's where he's going to focus. But he may not enjoy rules and may prefer to do things his own way. I think what's interesting with Elon, I don't think he's going to be leaving the media anytime soon. So let's kind of watch and see what else he does. And if you don't like and follow, click like and follow this for more videos. I also do what to expect each month planetary wise. So stay tuned. The new one for November is going to be coming out next week. So stay tuned for that. Like and follow. If you are on social media, follow me on Instagram at MindSoulJourney. And TikTok at MindSoulJourney. I'm not as good at posting there, but I do have one. And then on Facebook, MindSoulJourney or Elizabeth Y. Miller. Again, if you want to join my free newsletter, I will put the link below this video. So go sign up. It's free. It goes to your inbox. And it gives you heads up on what to expect each month, which on social you get it about the day before. So you don't really get a heads up, but you just know what's going on. So like and follow. Go follow the newsletter. It's free. And until then, I hope everyone's doing well. And if you have anybody that you're interested in seeing in Who's the News, leave a comment below and I will look into them. And I may even pick them to work on. So let me know. And until then, I hope all of you have a great day and a great week and whatever day of the week it is, and enjoy life in the moment, in the present. And I will see you shortly.